Sussex's tears had run dry as political career shattered by Trump's words, "I'm not a fan of Meghan." Speaking to Nigel Farage in Florida, the former US president said hasn't been a fan of the Duchess of Sussex since day one, while also criticizing her relationship with Prince Harry. Donald Trump has accused Meghan Markle of being disrespectful to Britain's Queen Elizabeth and the royal family. In an interview with Nigel Farage, the former US president also said he thinks Meghan's husband Prince Harry has been used horribly. Mr. Trump spoke about a number of subjects during the interview, which took place in Florida on Monday and will be broadcast on GB News. Speaking about Meghan, Mr. Trump said, "I'm not a fan of hers. I wasn't from day one. I think Harry has been used horribly and I think someday he will regret it." According to GB News, he added, "I think Harry's been used and been used terribly. I think it's ruined his relationship with his family, and it hurts the Queen." In response to comments from Mr. Farage about Meghan using Duchess of Sussex headed writing paper to lobby members of Congress, Mr. Trump said, "She is trying to do things that I think are very inappropriate." GB News said he told Mr. Farage, "I think she's very disrespectful to the royal family and most importantly to the Queen." During the interview, Mr. Trump described Queen Elizabeth, 95, as a great woman, such a great person, a historic person. It is not the first time Mr. Trump has spoken about Britain's royal family. Prince Harry was extremely furious with the whole media during the royal tour in South Africa when Archie was still a baby. He was still raging over ill coverage of Meghan Markle, says Omid Scobie. Prince Harry was extremely furious with the media during his royal tour with Meghan Markle in South Africa, according to a journalist with the press pack. Robert Jobson, royal editor at the London Evening Standard, explains what the mood was like during the tour in the BBC Two documentary The Princes and the Press. Part 2 of the Bombshell show aired on Monday, November 29, despite the royal family's stern response to last week's episode. Describing how the Sussexes' week in South Africa appeared to be going, Mr. Jobson says, "Every day they were getting positive press. Every single day in South Africa, there was no negative press whatsoever. And the way it was handled was pretty American, but it was pretty organized even though you weren't necessarily interacting with the principals. At the same time we've got Tom Bradby from ITV having little conversations around the corners." Meghan, who was exhausted and breastfeeding baby Archie in between royal engagements, famously told Mr. Bradby she was not okay and opened up about her mental health for the first time. The interview went viral around the world and some outlets criticized Meghan for talking about her feelings. In the BBC documentary, Sky News royal reporter Rhiannon Mills adds, "Well, I certainly didn't have any idea of what exactly Prince Harry was saying to Tom Bradby. But how he was generally on that trip, he wasn't like Prince Harry that we've known before. He didn't really engage. He didn't really come and talk to us in the ways that he would have done." Mr. Jobson adds, "I remember we went to the township in Johannesburg, on the outskirts of Johannesburg, and he had a speech to give there. He was extremely furious with the whole media. He didn't want to look at the cameras. He didn't want to interact." Omid Scobie says Harry was likely still feeling angry about earlier press coverage of Meghan, which he'd called racist in an open letter. For Harry to see some media organizations represented on their tour of Southern Africa be the same publications that had spent much of the year in his eyes harassing his pregnant wife, or writing ill of her, "I think that's where they really struggled," he says. "Think that's where